Okay, so in this video, I'm going to actually mix the paint color that I computed with the application. You can see here on a piece of paper, I just wrote down the portions of paint that I'm going to use, and then here I have the Tamiya paints that I'm going to use. Now, if you are mixing large quantities of paint, you can probably get away with using different sizes of syringes. I would have a good collection. You could have one that has millimeters. This does tenths of a millimeter. And that way you can get the different ratios of paint you need. And for the most part, if you're doing large amounts of paint, you don't need to go through what I'm about to show you. This is just if you want to just mix samples, and I definitely recommend you mix test colors and you mix samples to make sure you're happy with the color. This is what I do to get an accurate sample, and of course I've been doing small samples as I've been testing the app. So this is a bit of overkill for most purposes, but I'm going to show you how I go ahead and do it because some of you might be interested. Okay, so I have purchased a jeweler's scale on Amazon. These go up for like 10 bucks, 15 bucks on Amazon. Very, very useful because they can handle very, very small measures of mass in grams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to put my medicine cup. I use medicine cups for small amounts of paints for tests. I'm going to tare this to get it down to 0. And then I'm going to take the smallest portion. In this case, it's going to be flat green. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in a syringe and I'm going to put 1 drop in there. Now, you can use just measure in drops. I found that if you're doing this in drops, first of all, you will go nuts trying to calculate how many drops you count off 178 drops. The second thing is a single drop can have a lot of variance in its actual mass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on this side so my hand doesn't get in the way. And I'm just going to put 1 drop on here, and I'm going to measure how much 1 drop is. Alright, and you'll see here I draw it up and I shove a little bit out. And I'm just going to put 1 drop in here. Alright, and I'll put the rest back. And I'll put this back in my cup. And I'm just going to count out that 1 drop is 0.021 grams, so very, very tiny. Okay, so I got 1 drop of that. So I go to the next highest, which is going to be the flat blue, which is this one. And I'm going to need 2 drops of that, so I'm going to need 0.42 grams of that. So I'm going to tear my scale. And you want to try to match the mass of a drop. It can be very difficult. I have a couple tricks I use because I've been doing this a lot as I've been testing the app. So I'm going to draw this up, and I'm going to try to get 0.42. So I'm going to give it 1 drop and see what happens. 0.2. Let me give it another drop. 0.44, 0.45. It's fine. Don't stress too much about 1/1000th of a gram. It's really not a lot of paint. Now you'll notice that when we did the test before, we noticed that when we took out these paints that were only 1 or 2 portions, we got a very different answer. And that's because a little bit of pigment can go a long way. So you don't necessarily want to just drop these out because you will get a different color. Alright, so now we're going to go to the flat black. Normally you don't see flat black in mixes. This is kind of unusual for me, but it's okay. Alright, so we want a 0.084 grams. So I'm going to tear my scale again. And I'm going to try to get 0.84. Alright, or as close to it as I can. So I'll go 0.38, 0.6, maybe 1 more drop. 0.83, yeah, that's great. Okay, so now we want to add the ones that they're going to make up the bulk of this, and I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna use a calculator here, and we got 0.021 times 33. So I want 0.693. of the yellow-green. So I'm going to get some yellow-green. So this one you can have, you can just dump it in, and until you get the right amount. All right, so I need 0.693. So 2, 3, 4, 5. Slow down a little bit. 6, 6. I'm gonna do one more drop. 8, 6, 8, 5. I'm gonna touch this to the bottom of it. See if I can just get a little bit more paint. That's perfect. Okay. This is probably overkill, so don't feel you have to do this, but I'm just trying to be as precise as you can, just for demonstration purposes. Okay. So we want sky gray. That's 114 portions. We multiply that by 0.021. That gives us 2.394. So this could be a lot of paint. So we'll get our sky gray. We'll tear our scale. All right. Now, I don't want a lot of paint for this. All right. 2.394 is what we're looking for. Okay, that's 1.8. Getting close. 2.2. One, 3, 4, 6, 2.385. Okay, we're gonna call that done. All right, so we're pretty close. All right, so that's our sky gray, and then the last, and you're gonna use a lot of white doing mixes like this, so make sure you have a lot on hand. So 0.021. All right, so we want 3.738 of flat white. So we want 3.738. So that's going to be a lot. So we got one, 2, 3.738. Just trying to remember the right number. 3.738 is the magic number. All right, so we're getting there. 3, 1, 4, 5, 6. Slow down. 7. 7, 3. Just tap the. All right, so that's plenty of paint. All right, so that's all of our paint, and I just made a mess. Excellent. Splashed out on them. All right, so we'll close that up, and now the magic happens. All right, so we'll close that, and we'll get our brush out, and we'll see what this looks like. So it looks like a mess now, but hopefully, maybe. And there it is. So you kind of get that gray, slightly gray-green. Now, keep in mind, I used the Smithsonian numbers. The Smithsonian numbers are what they measured before they started restoring it. and Gary Kerr actually did a lot of work on color correction, so they did not actually use this color on the restoration. This is what it was before they started the restoration. So the color is probably, it's been sitting for decades, and it's being oxidized, and who knows if it was exposed to sunlight or whatever. So this is the Enterprise decades later. This is not what they put on the Enterprise. But, you know, if you wanted to use this mix, if you wanted to use that on the Enterprise, it's actually a pretty good color as is. If you wanted to, you could get the color swatches that Gary Kerr actually recommends for modelers, and you can try to mix that. And I'm actually going to go do that in another video. I'm going to show you how to get some lab numbers out of a paint color swatch.